So this is the Blender GLTF 2.0 Exporter tutorial, primarily for webVR. So to start this, you need Blender. I use 2.79. I think you need at least 2.78 for this to work. So what you want to do is you want to go to this website and get the Kronos Group Exporter plugin for Blender. You want to go here, download the whole zip that it'll come with, and then when you're done with that, you'll end up with all this. So in this setup, the actual plugin that you're going to need is here, this IOScene GLTF2 thing. So once you do that, you actually need to go to your add-ons folder and drag and drop this whole thing into the add-ons folder. So for me, it's already here, right here. It has all this stuff in it. This is your scripts for generating all this. So when all that's done, you need to go into Blender. You need to go to user preferences. You need to go to, well, it'll actually be here already, so and you'll have to enable it. So type GLTF into the search. You want to check this box, save user settings, and then you're basically ready to start. So the plugin is added. It's already installed. So to start using the Blender plugin, what you need to do is go to cycles, because the GLTF exporter actually works in cycles using the new principled shaders and stuff like that. So to actually properly get this going, we're going to go here to the node editor, and then we're going to drag the UV editor just to make sure the stuff is properly UV mapped. So I'm just going to project this down, scale it, and we'll go like this. Bounds. So there's your UV coordinates. Just scale it up a little bit. And we'll do the same for the cube. And we'll just do a reset on this one so it's like all the faces are good. So they're just, you know, every face perfectly covers this. And then when you're done with that, you actually need to go here. Actually go out of edit mode. So you need to link the node group of how this is going to work. So first, make your material. So you're going to have, you know, normal, whatever. We'll assign this as well. We'll go to material mode so you can actually see when this is done. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to File, Link, and then you want to go to that exporter master zip file that you downloaded from GitHub. You want to go to PBR node, GLTF2 blend, then the node tree, I think, yeah. Okay, then you want to import the metallic roughness. Now, there's a caveat here with the way that the exporter works. So with webVR stuff at least, and I think this only works with this, but you need the metallic roughness version, and the specular glossiness doesn't work. And I suspect this is because Blender doesn't actually support specular, that it uses the PBR metal workflow. So if you use specular glossiness, you can import this, and I'll show you how that works as well. But so we'll just import both of these, so we'll link them. And anyway, yeah, so you want to use the PBR metal workflow when trying to export out from Blender. Unfortunately, I think this is going to change when the EV version of Blender comes out, 2.8 I believe it is, and they'll allow for PBR specular, which will probably also work. And if Kronos Group makes any changes, I think it may also work when they update it. But So what you want to do here is you basically just add the exporter system as a node. So you want to go add group, metallic roughness, and then it's going to, this is a giant node group, it's like massive. But so what you want to do here now is you want to just add all your textures that you want. So you don't need the diffuse anymore. I'm just going to copy this and add the 4 textures that you normally get with PBR. And we'll go down here. So now you can go and actually open, let's see. So you're gonna need your 4 textures, which is, you know, your base color, your metallic, your normal, and your roughness maps. I would advise getting those from Substance Painter, or you know, a website that has PBR metal materials, and you just associate them. So PBR base color, I'm going to show you what these look like. This is just like a sci-fi thing. I'll explain that in a second. So open metallic, open normal, open roughness. So if you want these exporting out correctly, you actually need to go into each image, because Blender's going to try to apply the sRGB transform to this, which is just a fancy way of saying it's going to affect the colors and you won't get the right results. So every single one of these, what you need to do is go here to color space, and instead of linear or sRGB or whatever it is, set that to raw, so that it's just the raw color for each material or each image that you're going to use texture. So raw. So all those are raw, and then in here you want to set these to non-color data. I think for everyone except the base color. But definitely you want to do the normal map, because if you don't do that, it applies the sRGB transform, and then your normal data is going to be like offset to one side. So now what I'm doing here is assigning the different values to the right sections, and I'll explain this a little further. So basically, you have your base color, your metallic roughness, your roughness factor, and your normal, and you just, you know, assign each one to the correct one. You know, so this will determine how metal the surface is, the roughness, you know, your microsurface displacement, your normal map, and your base color. Anyway, so just to show you really quickly the specular gloss in this one, this will make sense if you understand it, but yeah, you just, if you understand PBR specular workflows, you got your diffuse, your specular, your glossiness, and your normal, as you would in any system. You know, your emissive, all that stuff. So you would just assign the correct textures to the correct you know, node point. So anyway, once all that's done, the cool thing about this exporter is it actually allows you to, hold on, let me apply GPU compute. So it's already good to go. Let me actually apply a environmental texture. So to do that, you just, you know, world color you want to set that to background. This just defaults. And then in here you want to go to environmental texture or environment texture. You want to go and get an HDR. I use HDR Haven to get my HDRs, and I also make them as well sometimes, but these guys are an easy way just to get something really quick, and it's going to be really high quality HDR. So this is an 8K HDR image. It's huge. Takes a little bit of time to load. And so it's gonna look a little bit weird, but you're gonna want to go in and change your color management if you want to get a good look out of this. Maybe up the exposure a little bit. Maybe this does need to be non-color. Just make sure these are correct. Yeah, that's the normal. Roughness. Okay, metal. This may not be the best texture to use for this example, but just up that a little bit. And give you decent understanding. So yeah, that's a really cool aspect. Is basically whatever you see in cycles is generally speaking what you're going to see, or what you should be expected to see coming out of webVR applications that support good PBR. So PBR metal workflows. So just go back to material mode here. Now I'm gonna make some assumptions that you guys understand PBR in general. If you don't, I have other videos on my channel that kind of explain the process of PBR, or just look up PBR metal workflows, and it'll kind of give you an understanding. Unity uses the same system for it. So yeah, so from this point you actually go, it's vastly different than normal workflows. Like when you're exporting OBJs and stuff, you actually go back into Blender render, or you would do everything in Blender render and assign them via your materials. But in this case, this is why this is pretty awesome. You literally just go to export, and then you go down here to GLTF. Leave all these the same for the most part. I mean, you can do like selected only. So just to delete the lamp, the camera, so it exports the whole scene. But you could select both of your things and do selected only. But anyway, so we'll just do this for now. So I've already done all this. Yeah, so it's right here. I'll just do it again just because. So it's exported now. And it's going to be so you're gonna want to upload this somewhere, Sketchfab or whatever. In my case, this is a guide basically for how to do this into janusVR, and to do that we're going to upload this to Vesta. So I'm going to go to Vesta, you make an account, blah blah blah, etc. You go build up here in the top corner, and you'll start with this. So I've copy pasted already a room design for this. Actually, let me get rid of some of this stuff. So we're going to get rid of the skybox stuff and keep So you're going to want PBR true on the room tag. Shadows, because we're going to have a shadow light in here, just because that's really far away. Let's do like 5 meters. Intensity is about right. So yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to upload this. So I'm going to make a new folder, GLTF2 test, create, and it will be down here. So from this point, we're actually just going to drag the exported so we're going to drag the metal. What was it? Okay, so you're going to want all 4 of these textures in the bin and the GLTF. You're going to want to just drag this over. It's going to upload it. And then we're going to go here. We're going to click on the GLTF and we're going to place in code. So it's going to be wherever my cursor was, unfortunately. So just cut that and paste that here. Now, update preview. And you'll see that we have indeed a PBR'd thing. So we can move this light. I'll move this light like 5 meters off to the side, and you'll see that the shadow changes. Maybe lower it so it's like more bright on one side, and you'll see that the shadow is now dramatically different. Maybe increase the brightness to like 15, 115. That would be blindingly bright. So if you use a better skybox image for the light, it'll actually reflect this a lot better. This will be a lot more shiny because it's basically, it kind of, like the default skyboxes don't really work all that great for doing this. So, but anyway, so what you would do here is, give it a title. 2.0 sample, and save and view, and then you're done. So that's room. It's going to be listed on the Vesta, examples, all that stuff. This will automatically generate a screenshot, or you can upload one yourself if you edit the room. So there's the edit. You can, upload an image. So now I'm actually going to show you just real quick how to render out a custom skybox, basically a custom equi-rectangular 360 image, I guess you might call it. So we're actually going to add a camera back in, and then we're going to set this to the rotation of this thing to 90, 0, -90. That's the correct orientation. And then we're going to set this right in the center. And then what we're going to do now is, now that we have the camera selected, we're going to go panoramic and then equi-rectangular, and then change the size, the resolution of your thing, which is in this tab. Set that to 100%. You want to make this like a 2:1 aspect ratio, so 2000 by 1000, and then I'm going to change the performance. You don't have to do this. I just have a pretty beastly system to render, and then render. So load. And that's the, so what you're seeing there is actually just the environmental texture that I originally uploaded. So anyway, save this. You can save it as a JPEG. So just I don't know, we'll call this probe, or I don't know, reflection probe. JPEG. Save as image. Go back into Vesta, your inventory, your test page, and then go back to this and just upload. So drag it. So you're going to want to place in code. There's that. Now let me get the code for, just copy paste some stuff. So the probe here, you actually want to do, just define an asset image in the code. So you get, you know, standard asset image, and then name this whatever you want. You want to cut this, paste this here, and then in the main, on your example, you actually want to define envmap underscore ID, and that's going to the ID is going to correspond to that. And this only works if you have PBR true for the room, because this is like basically, yeah, it's a reflection probe for the PBR material. So yeah, you can update this and you'll see the example here. So it's not going to quite be one-to-one to what Blender offers, because you know you're using ray tracing versus like a dramatically different example, but yeah, you can roughly see it. If you made your roughness map rougher, this would actually be a lot more apparent. You know, if it was like a chrome material or something like that, you would see like a perfect reflection basically of that probe. So I think that mostly does it. Let me just check my notes just to make sure. So yeah, you want to download the GLTF from GitHub. You want to install the GLTF exporter into Blender as an add-on. You got to link, that's the important part, you got to link the GLTF node group and then use that in cycles in order to use the exporter, and then basically you link your textures up to essentially a principled shader node. In the future it should be an equi node, I assume, hopefully. Yeah, and then I taught you how to do the equi rectangular image output, so you can make your own probe if you want. Yeah, and then you export it, so export it and then upload all that into Vesta, and now we're viewing the model. So that pretty much does it for this. So yeah, just you can see the nodes here, just link them up and you're good to go, and I think that should do it. So thanks for watching.